This client was so important for my future career, so I had to deliver great results. It was a few years back when I was just starting out with freelancing. I landed a pretty big client, bigger than normally. And because the scope of the task was big, I was given 3 whole months to complete it. At the time, I was still pretty inexperienced, so I knew I would get challenged a lot with this task. Yet, I had been paid half of the money up front, so I decided to take the first few days off to chill out and take it easy. But I ended up postponing this task for a bit longer. And then a bit longer again. In fact, when there was only 1 week left, I still hadn't started yet. And this is where I went into full panic mode. I had to deliver great results on this one. So for 1 full week, I was hyper-focused on this task. Everything else got deprioritized. At the very last minute, I wrote the last line of code, quickly tested the solution, compiled it, and handed it over to the client. He responded to me by email an hour later. I was so relieved and excited at the same time. In 1 week, I had accomplished what I was given 3 whole months to do. Then, a few years later, the client contacted me again. He had another task for me. This time, very challenging. He needed a complete redesign of his databases to make everything much faster. 2 of his in-house developers had already failed at doing this. It wasn't a super high priority to him, so I wasn't giving a specific deadline, but he told me that if I could fix this one, he would pay me very, very well. He sent over all the information and access to his systems. I promised I'd contact him again as soon as I had solved this one. That was the last time I ever talked to him. I never even opened the last email. Let me introduce Parkinson's law. It states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. If you're given a week to complete something, it'll take you a week. If you're given a month, it will take you a month. If you're given a year, it will take you a year. And if you're given no deadline at all, it never gets done. Welcome to my channel, I'm Simon Harburg. If you're curious about tech, business and online entrepreneurship, you came to the right place. And in this video, I'll introduce some of the most important principles and mental models I think every entrepreneur should be familiar with. Just like Parkinson's law, these ideas unlocked a world of new potential for me, and it might very well do the same for you. Let's go. The flywheel effect. When small wins build on top of each other over time, momentum will gradually build up and make each cycle spin faster and faster. An object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay in motion. This is Newton's first law. What's interesting about this is that, metaphorically, it applies perfectly to business as well. A flywheel is a massive metal object. It's heavy, and it takes a lot of energy to get moving. In the beginning, it'll move very slowly, but once it builds up, it will start moving faster and faster, and at some point, it requires close to no energy to keep it spinning. It's in motion, and it will stay in motion. This is exactly the same with online businesses. I bet you've heard people declaring that blogging is dead, dropshipping is too saturated, building a SaaS is too competitive, and so on and so on. Truth is, these all work fantastic, but they take time to build up. And most people who declare these channels dead simply give up too soon. Exactly like the flywheel, any online business is slow and heavy in the beginning, and it takes a ton of energy. But once the flywheel builds up momentum, you can let go, and it'll stay in motion and keep delivering great results. The next one is the Pareto Principle. This is also known as the 80-20 rule. Understanding this principle is the key to unlocking 10x growth. In the early 1900s, an economist named Vilfredo Pareto noticed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by just 20% of the population. Since this discovery, we've noticed that a similar distribution seems to appear in a number of different scenarios, such as income, wealth, bugs in a computer system, performance on a sales team, and so on. More generally, we can say that 80% of the results come from 20% of the causes. Of course, the distribution isn't going to be exactly 80-20 in all cases, but it's a great rule of thumb. When you're working on achieving a goal, you can expect 20% of your efforts to deliver 80% of the results. Once you spot which 20% really helps move the needle, you can down prioritize all the rest and start hitting hard on those 20%. Once this becomes clear to you, you'll start moving forward at enormous speeds. And here's another thing that will speed you up. using the right project management tool. Please, let me present the sponsor of this video, ClickUp. When I was doing freelance consulting as a developer, we almost always had to use Jira. And if you've ever tried it, you know how slow, janky and monolithic it is to use. So when I started my own software business, I wanted fast and lightweight. So I turned to Trello. And Trello is a good tool, though managing a team and delegating tasks across projects became too tedious. And this is when I found ClickUp, the perfect combination of a comprehensive project management tool, but still super fast and responsive. You can manage tasks and display your work in a number of different ways. They have an excellent inbuilt editor for writing and sharing internal documentation. And you can set up goals for yourself and your team. Today, I run my SaaS business, my YouTube channel, and honestly, my entire personal life, all through ClickUp. I use their web app, their mobile app, and their Chrome extension, and it has been a total lifesaver for my team and me. And now, they're also supporting this YouTube channel by sponsoring this video. Thank you for everything, ClickUp. You guys are creating some badass software here. Now, let's talk anti-goals. The idea is simple. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, focus on what you want to avoid at all costs. One of Warren Buffett's business partners, Charlie Munger, used to say, "Tell me where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there." Easy, right? That's really the only piece of information you need to stay alive forever. In the same way, instead of trying to set specific goals for yourself or envision a specific future, try to revert it. Which way of living do you think would really suck? Long meetings, not getting to spend time with your family, letting your skills and wisdom go to waste, not being challenged? Or perhaps it's not having a job, not feeling financially secure, living in uncertainty and fear all the time. It's different for everyone, but whatever it is, define it. This is your anti-goal. It's what you want to avoid at all costs. Now, your new goal is to get away from these things. Or if you already are, then stay away from them. This is an amazing trick to play on your mind. Instead of working hard towards something and celebrating it one time once you get there, you get to celebrate every day away from your anti-goal. I wake up every morning and I'm pumped that I'm not stuck in all the things that define my anti-goal. And I go to bed every night celebrating that I managed to avoid it for yet another day, and that for each day that goes by, I get further and further away from it. Alright, time to move on to something much more lovely. MLP. Minimum lovable product. The bare minimum required for your product to be loved by your users. You're probably already familiar with an MVP, or minimum viable product. This is the bare minimum required for your product to prove viable in the market. The idea of an MVP has been around for ages, though as a consequence of the recent surge of no-code tools, libraries and frameworks, it's getting increasingly harder to impress users, even early adopters, with MVPs that are just tolerable. So in order to truly validate that a product stands a chance in the super competitive online markets today, we need a new notion. We need to benchmark our products on lovability. Our product needs the ability to create true fans, die-hard advocates and evangelists, and we need to test this ability in the very early stages of development. Which brings us to the next principle, the Kano Model. It's a model used to prioritize features based on the degree to which they are able to satisfy customers. This is super important when you're planning your MVP. There's a misconception that an MVP should consist of only essential functionality. It's a misconception that might cost you a lot of opportunities because a product with only essential functionality doesn't give a very nice impression. And when we're planning out an MVP, we're doing it to validate if there's interest, not just to test if it can be built. That's why it's essential to include some features that are nice to haves, also in an MVP. The Kano model introduces 3 categories of features: basic features, performance features, and excitement features. If we plot this on a graph with customer excitement on the y-axis and the presence of the features on the x-axis, our ideal MVP should look something like this. So, a successful MVP should represent a slice of both core functionality, features that are expected from the market, and delighters, which makes the customer excited, not only core functionality. Finally, let's take a look at a positive sum game. It's a concept from game theory where the total gains and losses in the game are greater than 0. So it's a game where something gets added and where no one wins at the other player's expense. This idea has many applications and interpretations. Many entrepreneurs are notoriously good at picking these games. They are games that are mutually beneficial for all parties involved, and where some might win more than others, but no one loses. The total sum of the game is positive. Though I found a slightly different way of applying the idea of a positive sum game to my own online businesses. It turns out that this mental model is very well suited for lining up multiple revenue streams and handling risk. Let's say your business is the game, and your revenue streams are the players. You want to make sure the sum of the game is positive, either directly or indirectly. So when a new player joins the game, which would be a new project or new activity, you want to consider, does it have a chance to win? Will it help other players win? Will it help future players win? If it loses, will it reduce the sum of the game? So what does this practically mean? Does it have a chance to win simply means, can it generate cash? Will it help other players win means, will it amplify the other revenue streams? It could be from serving as social proof or by referring to the other products. Will it help future players win simply means, can I learn something from it that will be beneficial in the long run even if it doesn't work out? And if it loses, will it reduce the sum of the game? This means, will it have a negative impact on my other revenue streams or my business as a whole? It could be that failing on a specific project might hurt my reputation. There's always risk involved when we start a new business, and we cannot ever guarantee a profitable outcome. But instead of just asking, can this make money? We should rank the possible outcomes of a new activity and ask ourselves if it's likely to be a positive sum game in one way or another with this player involved. In this way, introducing new projects or revenue streams might have other ways of adding value to the total sum of your business long term, instead of merely generating money right here and now. Now, I highly recommend Googling each of these principles and learning more about them. Check out the description. I've linked to some resources that will get you started. Also, if you want to start applying some of these ideas right away, take a look at this video next. This is a 20-minute crash course that will help you set up with a $5,000 income stream almost entirely on autopilot. When watching this video, you'll recognize some of these ideas we've discussed here. Remember to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I will see you soon for another video.